Hello, hello, West Ham Network. We officially have a new signing. It is Adama Traore. He has signed for West Ham. Everything went live at 11. There was a little teaser on social media at about 5 to 11 where it was worth the wait, WEIGHT. So we all knew what was coming. And at 11 o'clock this morning, it was officially announced that Adama Traore is indeed a West Ham player. So there's a lot that we can talk about, and we're going to have a little run through everything that we need to know about Adama Traore signing and what that actually looks like. First of all, the actual announcement was exciting. It's a player that is going to run, and we know that. Now, where to start? First of all, for those that are joining us, let us know your thoughts on Traore joining down in the comment section. Hello, 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 hello. Good morning. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Drop your thoughts on Adama Traore becoming a West Ham player in the comments. Now, we knew that Traore was in the building. It was reported for quite a while. The deal was kind of on and off, and there were question marks over what it was that was stalling it. But most of us presumed it was probably the role that he would be playing and where he'd actually fit in, and those game time assurances that a lot of signings obviously want. So we have brought him in, and I'm interested to see what he's going to be able to do. So we're going to be running through the comments, what we can look forward to with Traore, and getting your thoughts, of course, on Traore signing for West Ham. Now, the deal is done. Nuno spoke a lot. We're going to be running through the exact quotes, but about his energy and his readiness to work, which I think is what we need in any signing that we bring in. We know we're not in a position at the moment where we're looking particularly attractive to players. So we're having to lower that bar of what we're trying to bring in. First of all, it's January. Secondly, we don't have an endless budget. And thirdly, we don't look that attractive to players that are currently doing incredibly. We know in January, the ones that are available are the same ones that basically are out of favour with their clubs. But it's all about what they can bring to West Ham and how we can be clever this window about strengthening our side regardless. So Nuno spoke a lot about Traore's energy and his readiness to work. And this fight and energy is the same thing that we have seen from Tati and Pablo. So clearly, we're looking to sign players like Traore that can cause problems for the opposition, and just hard work and graft is what makes them good. So let's have a little look at some of the comments. Let us know your thoughts down below if you haven't already. So Adama Traore said, "I'm so happy to be here, so happy to help the team the maximum I can and show my quality." So again, it's all about this hard work that we're hoping to see from him. The big question mark over Traore is always the end product, because when you look at him, stats-wise, it doesn't look particularly flattering. This season, he has played 20 games for Fulham, and he's got no goals and no assists. But you have to argue on the flip side of that, he's barely got any minutes for them. In fact, he's not played more than 15 minutes since October. So given the amount of time that he's actually getting on the pitch, it's kind of harsh to expect him to get many goals and assists. Obviously, he's out of favour, and that's the reason he's not getting much time. But the question is, what can he actually do at West Ham? We've seen Summerville, the player that everyone questioned the end product, suddenly be able to turn something around and start to get those goals, get those assists. And that's what we need Traoré to do. Under Nuno, he played 131 games. He scored 10 goals and he got 18 assists. So there is hope that we can bring this form out. And I think the thing is, stats from the past recently don't matter a huge amount. Obviously, you can guess someone's form, but if they're not getting game time, I don't think it matters too much from where we are, because we've got to focus on the future now. And essentially, he's got 15 games now to become the world's best impact sub for West Ham. Nuno knows how he works, and he really wanted him. So there must have been something that he knows about Traore that he thinks this is the guy that we need to get us out of this problem. We knew that he wanted him when he was at Forest, which was a massive reason that he pushed so hard he fell out with owners. So hopefully Nuno knows what he's doing, and he's bringing in somebody that is going to make a massive difference. Like I said, under Nuno, he's played 131 games. He scored 10 goals and he's got 18 assists. So that looks a lot more flattering. And if he can do the same under Nuno, or dare I say it, even better, he could be an incredible addition to our squad. Now, looking at this, Traoré is ready to work. He's so happy to be here. He wants to help quality. He's been seeing West Ham for a long time. Massive club, massive fan base. So here you can see in the comments, he's talking about the mentality to just work hard, to improve and to help. And I think this is what we need, because it's likely we're going to be using him as a sub off the bench. And we need someone that's ready to come on, ready to work hard and ready to make a difference, because that is what is going to help us massively. Like I said, he's very, very excited about signing for West Ham. And I just think it's so good that he's got this mentality to just do better. So let us know your thoughts down below. Good signing, fantastic signing, so much better than Strand Larsen or Mateta. Now, this is an interesting question, obviously. Why sign a right winger? That's one of the few positions where the Irons aren't weak. Now, I definitely agree with this. I think his game time is going to be limited because realistically, we're not going to drop Bowen for him. If we keep Bowen on the pitch, that's pushing him up top when we've just signed 2 strikers and currently still have Callum Wilson. It doesn't make sense in terms of if you were going to start him. But I think this is a real squad signing and it's going to give us something different. And in a way, where West Ham have been so shocking, had such little squad depth, so little options off the bench, we're kind of used to this mentality where I think we're always focused on what does this bring to our starting 11. Realistically, he's not going to really bring anything to our starting 11 because I don't expect Traoré to start, but it does give us another option. Say Bowen got injured, we'd be in so much trouble right now, and that's where having someone like a Traoré is a brilliant backup plan, especially if it's not costing you a fortune. But also the games where we've seen where, say, like Bowen's really struggling or we're just not hitting the ground running or we've spotted a weakness, being able to bring someone in the dying minutes of a game with that much pace can just wreak havoc. And I think that's what we're looking to do here, is just throw something in as a sub, an impact sub, that hopefully nobody wants to go up against Adama Traore running down you at the wing when you're feeling leggy. And at the same time, I think it takes a player out of the game because they're going to have to man mark him to be able to have a chance of keeping up with him. Now, the real question is, can Nuno bring that end product out of Traoré? Because if he can, we could be in for a very exciting end of the season where we've got a really good impact sub that we can get goals in a different way and become a little bit less predictable. So that is the hope. We know that Nuno's worked with him before and we know that he should know how to use him best. So there shouldn't be too much of a period of working out what he can do or what he can't do. I'm sure Nuno will already know how he intends to use him. So these are the things that I think are massive pluses. Like I said, I don't think this is one for the starting 11, but I do think that this could bring us something exciting just when we need something different, that impact sub. And of course, if anyone was to get injured, touch wood they don't, it just gives us someone else to bring on here. So I love the challenges. I think, of course, we have to go game by game, and this is what we're going to do, trying our best. I think everything comes from belief, and I believe we're going to achieve what we're looking for. So this is the thing. I think he has been around for a while now. He's experienced. He's been in difficult situations in Premier League clubs as well. And I think all of this does lend to someone that isn't afraid of taking on a big project, and instead someone that wants to prove a point and leave a mark. And that is what we need at West Ham right now, is players that are just going to give everything on the pitch. Like we said, there's the full quote. He just wants to put in 100%. Obviously, these are the things that almost every player says, but it is good to see. Now we're looking at this. He can't pass the teammate. He can't hit a shot on target. He'll stink the place out. Not a good transfer. Look at his stats. The bloke is blooming useless. So we're going to talk about those stats one more time. Like I said, I think we're in a difficult position because anyone realistically that has good stats is in good form. Their club won't want them to go in January. They will cost a fortune, and the player won't want to come to West Ham, who, I guess, taking a non-biased view, we've also got horrible stats right now. So anyone that is an attractive prospect, shall we say, probably doesn't want to come to West Ham, unfortunately. Now, when we look at his stats at the moment, the whole thing is that stats can definitely be skewed, but they do tell a good picture of what someone's capable of. Now, we look at his recent stats. It's not good. 20 games for Fulham, no goals, no assists. Is that the form that we want to bring into West Ham? Absolutely not. But under Nuno, he played 131 games, scored 10 goals, got 18 assists. And when you look at the fact that he's got no goals and no assists, like I said, he's not played more than 15 minutes since October. So he's not getting much game time for Fulham. Obviously, he's out of favour, probably because of not performing, not having the end product. But it's all going to be about now what he can do at West Ham. Obviously, it's difficult to have faith in someone when the stats aren't great. But we were looking at Somerville, right? And just 4 weeks ago, we were saying Somerville can't play because although he looks exciting and he runs at people, he's got no end product. And just something has clicked and he's managed to find that end product, that confidence. And sometimes the new project, like Traoré coming to a new club, can be exactly what you need to actually turn things around. So my hope here is that we can actually see Traoré do more than we've seen him do at Fulham. And Nuno's worked under him. Nuno's worked out clearly how to get a decent amount of performance out of him as well. And he is an impact sub, there's no denying, but he'll be an impact sub when we're almost out of ideas and need to bring on someone different. Statman Ben, here he is, muscles. Call me cynical. I've got a feeling of brown envelopes with this bit of business. Now, obviously, there's a lot of conversations around people that know people, and Nuno's worked with Traoré before and agents knowing people. I guess in the world of football, we'll just never know what goes on behind the scenes. People also asking, obviously, with Guido, Irving, James Ward-Prowse, and leaving lost my train of thought. If we're not bringing a good replacement, that's definitely Sully prepping for the championship. Now, I guess the question is, how worried are we about lack of recent form? Normally, if you're in a nice position, you look at someone and you want someone that's in form so they can come and bring that to you. But we've seen time and time again, players that are in form, it doesn't mean they're going to come to West Ham and play well. We saw Jesse Lingard, he signed terrible end products in terms of what we were expecting to see. The hopes weren't high. If anything, there was quite a lot of reluctance to him signing. He came to West Ham, did a job, surprised us all, and did incredibly. Like I said, Somerville recently has found some form. So just because someone hasn't had that end product, it doesn't mean they can't find it. You'd like to think that anyone at the top level of their game has the ability to pass to someone else. The question is, how do you get that out of them? And my hope is Nuno's done it before with Traoré and he'll be able to do it again. Tommy Skinner, I get the squad depth, but it also gives us the option to bring Bowen through the middle behind Tati and have more pace out on the right. And this is exactly it. To play Traoré, we've got basically the question mark over what are we going to do with Bowen. Do we take Bowen off for Traoré, or do we move Bowen more central or pop him up top? It gives us these options. And in my opinion, in the situation that we're in at the moment, options can only be a good thing. We would only need Bowen to get injured to be in such a horrific situation. So it gives us that backup, that squad depth if we needed it. But also it means that we can mix things up mid-game. How long has it been since at West Ham we can make a tactical substitution, move someone around on the pitch and go, well, that works better because now we can run down the wing where they're weak. So it will just give us a lot more options in terms of what we can do. Be okay in the championship next season. Obviously, if we were to get relegated, then this is a signing that would benefit us then. Where is he playing? Right side where Bowen plays, maybe as a sub, desperate times. We left it late, lost 3-0 at Wolves. That was a game we had to win. Completely agree that we had to win against Wolves. I guess my hope, my real hope, might be a bit hopeful, is that we can turn something around in the coming weeks. We've had a couple of games on the bounce now where we've managed to get the win, and we need to fight. And Adama Traore is a player that, by the looks of it, will fight. Regardless of that end product, the goal is to get that end product out of him. So yeah, I think in terms of well play, it will be either in the place of Bowen as an impact sub or moving Bowen more central, like we said, perhaps behind to give us a little bit more options, or perhaps up top. But that doesn't really make sense to me. We've just brought in 2 strikers. But ultimately, another option. And when we were hearing that the deal was on and then the deal wasn't necessarily on, I imagine, obviously I don't know, but I imagine that a lot of these conversations were about what role he would actually play at West Ham and how he would get any time when he's essentially behind Bowen. So yeah, I think we'll be able to use him as an option. I think he's up for the fight, and I think that's what we need. And like I said, we've seen it with Pablo and Tati. We brought in 2 players that run, that have energy, that don't give up running. And I'm not saying they're the world's best players, but running at players, it really makes things harder for the opposition. And I think that's what we've seen in our recent 2 games, is that there's just been a bit more pressure, which has, first of all, stopped the opposition just wanting to attack because they're where they need to defend. And this is what Traoré will bring, because people will be scared of him running at them, and people will have to either man mark or be ready to leg it back at any moment. So that's a lot of wages now left at the club. If there's not a centre-back and a strong attacking mid coming now, we've weakened the squad. Now, I agree that we've got to sort out the centre-back situation before the end of the window. Time is running really short, which does concern me. Even if it's somebody that we just know will take no nonsense, as another option to bring in as a last resort. But for me, it's criminal if we don't address the centre-back issue, because that's the one for me that I was like, we've got to sort that out as a priority. I completely understand that it doesn't always happen in that order. But if the transfer window closes and we've not brought in at least another option, I think that would be a real mistake, because even although we've managed to get the points, we're still conceding too many goals. And that catches up with you, right? We can't keep outscoring the opposition if we're needing to score 3 every game to win. Back up for Bowen and Somerville, exactly that, because Traoré predominantly plays on the right. He has, however, played as a striker and on the left. So it is just a player that can play in these positions. There wouldn't necessarily need to be the biggest downgrade, shall we say. Not that he's going to stack up to being as good as Bowen or Somerville, but it's another option should someone get injured. Are we investing the Paqueta money, or is that already spent with Pablo and Tati? It's a very good question, to be completely honest. I don't know. I wish I had more of an insight into the finances and whether we were spending ahead of time or whether we're spending money that's already been brought in. My hope is, like I said, that we address the centre-back situation, whether we spend a decent chunk of money or we bring someone in like a Craig Dawson that just doesn't take any nonsense, might bring a bit of experience and just shore things up a bit at the back, because I don't think it could be much of a downgrade. But yeah, in terms of if we're investing the Paqueta money, I've got no idea whether we are or not. From what I'm seeing with Paqueta, the valuation of what we're being offered versus what we have isn't there. Whether it's payment structure, the amount, the deal, it looks as though it's not agreed yet. Are we going to see that by the end of the transfer window? Potentially. The unfortunate bit about it happening so late in the window, if it does, is that it doesn't give us time to reinvest, which ultimately just puts more money in a pot, which if we stay up in summer, or if it can help us if we get relegated, it's useful, but it's not useful in keeping us in the Premier League and investing in what we need to fix right now, which, as I've said time and time again, for me, that is centre-back. We've got to fix it. Statman Ben, spot on about Lingard. I think the evidence suggests Nuno knows how to coach him, so let the man have the players he wants. It's his reputation at stake too. I've always said you've got to back a manager. Even when I think a manager, it's time for them to leave, you've got to back them. Otherwise, there's no point in having them. You've got to give them the tools at their disposal that they believe they need to turn things around. Otherwise, it's just pointless, isn't it? If you haven't already, by the way, make sure you give this video a like. Make sure you subscribe to West Ham Network. And of course, leave a comment with your thoughts on the signing of Adama Traore. But I think you've got to back a head coach. You just have to give them the tools that they need. Otherwise, you might as well part ways and start with someone else's vision. So what we're doing here is we're backing Nuno. We're bringing in a player that we know that he wants. We know that he kicked up a fuss because he couldn't have at Nottingham Forest. Clearly, he rates him for whatever reason that is. I feel it might be his work ethic and his eagerness to play and do well, which I think can only be a good thing, because when you look at when we've sort of rolled over as a club recently, it's players giving up, flapping hands in the air, looking up to the sky when they're losing possession. And from what I can see, while Adama Traore might not have the best end product, he does work. And I think if you can work, you can beat at least 40% of the Premier League teams by keeping pressure on them. And that's something that we've not been doing. As soon as you start closing down the worst teams, they're under pressure, they make mistakes. But we've been sitting back from those teams and letting them just run wild while we get the pressure put on us and fumble it every time. So this is where I think players like Adama are going to be really beneficial, because first of all, he's going to run at them. I mean, they've got to defend. Secondly, he's just going to be able to fight and keep pressure on. And I think for me, that's one of the points that is really, really interesting. Seems like we're going to be an athletics team in an athletics stadium. I mean, if he happens to break the world record for 100-meter sprint, I'll be very, very happy to see that at the London Stadium. You can see Bowen replacing Pablo when he's knackered. Yeah, fair. This is the thing, though. It gives us options to move people around. So it's not necessarily just looking at it like, well, where's he going to play? Because we're not going to take Bowen off because Bowen is obviously such an asset to us. It's what else we can do on that pitch alongside Bowen staying on and Traoré potentially coming on. I'm just going to quickly run this. Make sure you subscribe. I will be back in 20 seconds. Like, subscribe, drop your thoughts in the comments. Back in 10. We are back. We have just had to do a shuffle of workspaces. So, yeah, like I said, I'm excited about the signing of Traoré. Is this the dream player and the dream situation that's going to save us from relegation? I'm definitely not saying that. But what I am saying is that this brings us something off the bench with a player that we know has pace, which we know can cause problems for the opposition. Am I saying he's going to give us loads of goals, loads of assists? Absolutely not. But at the same time, I'm just going to give Dan a chair. Bear with me 1 second. At the same time, what this does mean is that we are going to have something else that we can do. Right. We're back. So how is everyone actually feeling about this signing, and what do you think we have to do before the end of the window closes? So for me, we've got to sort out centre back. I can't say it in any other words. We can't keep relying on outscoring the opposition. It has to be that we are able to stop conceding so many goals. We've got a lot of big games coming up, but we're going to talk through a few more things because West Ham have done an article on 8 things, 8 things that you need to know about West Ham's new winger, Adama Traore. First of all, born near Barcelona. Very, very interesting. He graduated from La Masia, the youth academy, at the age of 8 in 2004. He scored his first goal in a 2-2 draw in 2014. Got numbers from early on, to be fair. He played in the Champions League at 17. This picture of him for Barcelona that the club have posted as well, it doesn't even look like him, to be fair. I don't think I would guess that it was Traoré. He replaced Neymar as a second half substitute. So he's always had this physicality and this speed that can benefit a side. He moved to England at 18, went to Villa 2015. That was his move to England. So after they were relegated, he went to Middlesbrough, became a first-team regular. He was voted Middlesbrough Player of the Year in the 2017-2018 season. And then, of course, we need to talk about him playing for Nuno at Wolves. So he moved back to the Premier League in 2018. Wolves had just been promoted at the time, and he did brilliantly under Nuno. So Wolves finished 7th in the Premier League that season and went into the FA Cup semi-finals. Then the next season, he managed to get record-breaking goals from his own performances, and they finished 7th again and got into the Europa League quarterfinals, scoring against Braga and Espanyol, may I add. So that was kind of, I would say, what the highlight of his career has been. But the interesting part is it was under Nuno. So he's going to be coming to work under Nuno, positive and hoping to perform to the same levels. Nuno is going to be bringing in a player that he's got faith, belief and an understanding of, which can only put us in good stead going into the second half of the season here. So yeah, basically, that's what we want to see. He got recognised by Spain for his performances at Wolves under Nuno. And yeah, like we've said, we've seen that there has been a drop in his performance recently. Last season for Fulham, he scored 2 goals and got 10 assists and played a big part in them reaching the FA Cup quarterfinals and finished 11th in the Premier League. He then got his contract extended with Fulham until the summer of 2025 based on that. So although we're looking at his recent form is bad. You look back another season, he scored 2 goals and he got 10 assists. So we're talking about someone with no end product that a year before this bad season got 10 assists. So he could be able to unlock this again. And we know he's played well under Nuno. And that's the hope that I'm clinging on to. That means that this is going to be a solid signing for us. Spurs are on the same points as Palace, equally crap at the moment, have a very tough February coming up. They'll be lucky to get a point in February the way that they are playing. Now, this is the thing. It's really easy as a fan to be gutted and frustrated at what's going on, how badly we've been playing. Things can turn around very quickly. In the last 2 games, we have got 6 points. Did we see them coming? Absolutely not. Did we deserve them based on our form at that point? Absolutely not. But we have managed to pick up 6 points at times where we're playing better, at times where you could say we didn't really necessarily deserve to get these points. But it doesn't matter, because if you get those points, that's all that matters. If we were to win another 2 games that we weren't expecting and pick up another 6 points, we'd be in a completely different position as a club. And that is the reason that it's not all dead and gone. I think the frustration and the challenge that I've had with feeling positive about the rest of the season has been that you look at our form and the way that we're playing and it gave us zero hope. But we're making signings. We're looking at players like Tati that look to be really good, players like Fernandez that are really coming out of their shell now. Pablo, still intrigued to see what he can do. Traoré signing means that we've got some pace and someone that we can bring on, which means we can just shuffle things around a bit more and be less predictable mid-game, because it's hard to adapt mid-game. And a substitution of bringing on a Traoré, maybe moving Bowen more central, maybe taking off Somerville and putting him on the left, whatever we chose to do, it's just something that gives someone on the opposition side a problem. And if we can give problems to the opposition, aka Traoré sprinting down the wing at them, then in my opinion, that is a good job done. Joshua saying Bowen as a 10 with Somerville. Yeah. To be fair, these are the things that we can do. We can shuffle things around. It doesn't need to be quite as static and predictable every single game, because like I was saying earlier, I think we've become accustomed at West Ham to just going, well, Bowen plays at right wing, so we don't need someone else, because we're not even used to any sort of squad depth at the moment, are we? That's like a pipe dream. At the moment, we just want a starting 11 that can perform to a Premier League standard. So the fact that we are bringing in players for squad depth is great. Like I said, I still want us to address the main issues within our starting 11. And for me, that is indeed the centre-back. So let's pop up his little picture one more time. Adama Traore, West Ham's latest signing. It's going to be a good one. Fingers crossed. And hopefully Nuno knows what he's doing here. But like we said, they've worked together before. I'm going to leave you on a positive note. They've worked together before. Adama and Nuno have good form together. Although Traore's last season is not good, previous season, 2 goals, 10 assists. Under Nuno, so many more goals, so many more assists. So all of these are positives. That number one, he performs well under Nuno. Number two, apart from the shocker of a season that he's been having at Fulham, which, like I said, he's not played more than 15 minutes since October. So the stats don't look good, but you can only score so many goals or get so many assists if you're literally not getting any game time. So there is hope. Traoré has good stats when he's given good game time. He's got good stats under Nuno. We know he runs at the opposition, and we know that he causes problems because it means that they've got to be ready to sprint back with him, and that is not easy. So if he's brought on as an impact sub, it will give us more versatility as a side. It will give us an option off the bench, and it will mean that we can move other players around to strategically target them with his pace. So that's what I want to see. That is what I'm hoping to see under Adama Traore. And he's ready for the battle. He's ready for the fight. He's up for it. He's been in the Premier League. He's been at many clubs where he's been in relegation battles. He has the experience, and clearly he's not afraid of a bit of a challenge. And that's what he's stepping into at West Ham. So there's no false pretenses here. He knows what to expect. Tommy said, I don't think we necessarily weakened the squad. We've just got rid of our 4th and 5th choice midfielders, and a player doesn't want to be there. If getting rid of them means we get a good centre-back, I'd take that now. I definitely agree. In terms of weakening our squad, the overall squad, we've got players that obviously are decent enough names that you know that they can do a job. And a few seasons back, if we'd have said Paqueta would be going, we'd have been devastated. Do you remember when City wanted him and we were saying, well, 80 million is not enough. Like, I still want to keep him because he was such an integral part of our team. I think given where we are now with Paqueta and how we haven't really missed him since he's not been playing, I wouldn't say that we've weakened our starting 11 by getting rid of any of the players that we've got rid of, but it does give us less squad depth. The only argument I would say, I don't think at West Ham we have options that we're not in that starting 11 that are making a difference when they come on. And for that reason, maybe it's worth swapping some of those options out and bringing in players like Traoré, that there's a chance that they could do something great off the bench for us. So like you said, I don't think we've weakened our starting 11. And if a player doesn't want to be at West Ham, and especially if they're refusing to be part of a battle, I think that's not what you need negativity-wise, like work ethic-wise. We need grafters right now. Traoré is definitely one of them. It looks like Tati and Pablo are too. They run so much and they want the ball, which is what we want to see. So yeah, all in all, I wouldn't say we've weakened our starting 11. I would say we've got rid of some players that you could potentially fall back on. But are they good enough to be players that we'd have fallen back on to save us this season? I don't think they would have made the difference, if I'm brutally honest. But if getting rid of them, like Tommy has said here, means we have the finances to get a good centre-back, I would take that all day, every day. Ian here, looking at the marketing opportunities. New sponsor, Johnson's Baby Oil. Got to stop players hanging on to Traoré's arms. So another sponsor, a little bit more revenue for the summer transfer budget. So yeah, all in all, I think this is a good addition to West Ham's squad. Do I think he's going to start? No. Do I think that he can play a tactical part in us having more options and doing something good when we're struggling? Absolutely. So here's to a positive reception for Traoré. Here's to a really good start. I want him to have that start that Lingard did, where none of us expected much. Everyone was questioning the end product. Everyone was going, what is it that we've seen to bring him in? He came in, he hit the ground running, and he delivered the results. If he can do that, I would be so happy. And like I said, Nuno's managed to find some end product in Somerville, and it's all about that confidence. And coming to a new project at West Ham will give Adama Traore this confidence to go in and hopefully start afresh, draw a line in the sand, and be like, I am the man to help West Ham out when I'm brought on. And that's what we need. We need grafters. We need people that want to help, and we need people that are happy to be a sub if that's what's best for the team. And I think that's what we found in Traoré. So all in all, I am happy. I think I would have loved some of these big names to come in. I'm still concerned we've not got a centre back, but I think we've got to be realistic with who we can bring in. And for me, I would hate to go up against a Traoré because you just have to think about him all the time. And even that is enough to throw you off your game. And I think it's these fine margins that are going to be the things that help us to compete against some of the worst sides in the Premier League and hopefully get us to stand out a little bit from them. As we've seen with Somerville, when he didn't have the end product, it still helped us to hold possession a bit and get the ball up that wing. So even if he can do that and just lay the ball off, just a simple layoff to someone else that can then take it goalwards, I don't care. I will take anything right now. So this is the rebuild that we're seeing. We have still got a few days left of the transfer window. Centre back needs addressing. Flat space saying Sean is a cheap deal. I'm not sure how much that baby oil bill will be. To be fair, it's probably going to cost a fair amount, but whatever it takes to stop people hanging on to Traoré, you've got to invest. He is an investment, as is the baby oil, very clearly. I do find it funny that we've managed to just bring in someone that's an absolute unit, someone that doesn't even look like they're suited to Premier League football, but he's just going to sprint down that wing. And you know what? I'm here for it. I'm excited for it. And I want to see it work. I really, really want to see it work. So that's all from me for now. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments on the video. Make sure you hit the like button as well, because it goes such a long way to supporting the channel. So if you can, give this video a like. Make sure you subscribe to West Ham Network as well, because we have so much more content coming out. We've got the YouTube content. We've got daily videos. I'm going to be doing the Hammers headlines today. So around 4 or 5 p.m, we do the 3 biggest West Ham stories of every day. Telling you, some of you have probably been here the whole time, so I'm preaching to the converted. But we've got short form content on Facebook. We're doing YouTube Shorts that's starting up, TikTok. So follow us on all channels, because we've got so many updates in so many formats coming out, and it's going to be a solid end to the rest of the season. Mark said, I think he'll start. Can you imagine a formation? Somerville sprinting down one wing and Traoré on the other, cutting the ball back to Bowen and Tati, or even each other. The slower opposition defences won't be wanting to push too high. This is really interesting, Mark, because I don't know whether, for me, I think I would still start Bowen in his best position, seeing as he's performing well at the moment, and Somerville obviously is doing brilliantly. But the thought of Traoré on one side and Somerville on the other, both of them running down, the way that we could play on the break would be beautiful. And like you said, cutting in and then having Bowen and Tati to play off each other more central, oh, it would be beautiful. So this is probably how I'm envisioning once we sub him on. So maybe I'd start with what we have been doing that's been working, and then I would wait until everyone was a little bit leggy, and at that point basically switch up to this, because you would have the pace that would absolutely destroy a tired, there you go, funny you should say that would destroy a tired defence. I don't think he'll start as a battering ram to bring on against a tired defence, but either way, it's so exciting to have. We're talking about the opportunities, right, of how we can play this player. And I think even the fact that we're considering playing him for decent amounts of time says something, right? There's something that Traoré could bring to us. And that's what we need at West Ham right now. So here's to a big end to the summer transfer. Summer? It's not summer at all. The sun's shining and I'm here acting like it's August. The winter transfer window, the January transfer window. That's what we call it. Haven't had much sleep lately. So clearly don't know what day or time of the year it is. But I'm also going to be doing a load of content on deadline day, where we're going to be running through all of the windows business, as well as what is going on the final day of the window. We're hoping to do a lot more business. So that's where we're hoping there'll be lots for me to talk about on transfer deadline day, but it's going to be an interesting one because, like we know, we still have work to do and that the fence needs fixing. So that is all from me for now. Like I said, if you haven't already, please hit the like, give this video a little like, make sure you subscribed on Facebook, make sure you have followed us on X, on every platform, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. So it's good fun at the moment. It's a pleasure making content for all of you. Thank you so much, as always, for watching. Appreciate each and every one of you. Like, follow, subscribe. Make sure you leave a comment. Give this video a little like. And until next time, join me for Hammer's Headlines tonight. I'll be running through the biggest news stories of today. And till next time, come on, you Irons. Irons.